Hey, what's up, guys? Marc Brunet here, back with my retrospective. So, as I promised, this is the second part. This is about my early days. So, when I first started to get into art, really, and that was when I was really young. I was probably 4 or 5 years old. These are, I think, I was 5 years old when I did those. So I was, starting to be able to write and read and very basic words, but yeah, that's why you see a couple things written in there. So 5 or 6 years old, I would say, and basically we're just brain dumps of whatever I could think of. So I would sit down for like hours and just fill those pages up, and basically I wouldn't stop until the page was full with stuff. And back then, I I had a Nintendo and that kind of stuff, but my parents were pretty strict about not letting us play too much. So I would have a lot of time on my hands, and that's what I did with it. So it was just like scenes of nonsense happening, a bunch of characters, a bunch of different stories going on in there, but it was always like a lot of fun. And then you can probably see that I was quite patient for to do something like that. But there's nothing in this damn scene. It's just a million fishes, and this guy just falling in the water because the fish he caught is a little too big. But yeah, like I did all those one by one, and this kind of stuff also, where it's a maze, but it's not really a maze because I don't think it works. It might work, I don't know, but I don't see it. I don't even see a start and a finish. So yeah, I don't know, a lot of patience, and that's a good example of some of the stuff I did, which was copying a lot. I did a lot of copies. So the stuff you've seen before was only all from my brain, I guess. But I did a lot of copying, and that was, I think, to never any tracing though. But I did copy from books, look at it and then try to do the same on my own. Uh, and that was to make me feel better about myself, I guess. If I, if thinking was, if I can draw the same lines, then at some point I'll be able to draw them on my own without having to look at it. But yeah, that actually came true. And this is, I think this was in third year of elementary school, where I was tasked to do like a street scene. And most of these, like this one, all the colored ones, all the colored ones, the two colored ones that I see here, were homeworks. And yeah, this one again shows my intense level of patience. Drew all those trees one by one and different colors. Oh boy, I remember that. That was brutal. I had a good score though. And but yeah, those were all done for homeworks. This one was the first colored illustration that I did on for my personal time, I guess. As I mentioned a lot in my previous videos, I was a huge Dragon Ball fan, so that's where it's from. Amazing. As you can see, this is my first my first self portrait. I think that I was in yeah, third year of elementary school, so I was pretty young, like 8 years old maybe. And that was a little bit later, maybe a year later, 2 years later. And I was as a a big Warcraft fan. I used to play a lot of Warcraft 2, Diablo, that kind of stuff. And I was also a huge Marvel and a Marvel comics fan. So I had a bunch of comics, and I did this when I was 12, so that was a little bit later. And that was a very small picture in the back of one of my comics, so like the next issue coming up or whatever. And I blew it up and tried to draw it myself. And at that point, I was drawing with pens for some reason. I thought it would give me more confidence, or I don't know. But that was there was a big face, like all these drawings initially that you're gonna see here. Plus the ones a little bit before, that was all done in pen, no pencil at the beginning. It's just like straight away. So it's not perfect. That's because I couldn't go back to them, but it's a practice that I started even when I was younger, right? So I was already trying to challenge myself to get more confident with my lines and my decisions making and in my processes, and I think it helped me quite a bit. So after a while, I was getting pretty good. So, but these are all back to pencils. Nothing special about these. And again, those are all like copied from the actual manga that I was reading. I was a huge nerd, huge Dragon Ball nerd. And the hero, I was trying some shading of my own. But yeah, so I used to copy a lot, as you can see. And this is some more copying. That was a couple years later, even. I think it was maybe 13. So that was around the time when I went to high school. Uh, and I was, yeah, like I said, big anime fan. So those were all like back then there was no real forums, or at least I wasn't on any forum, so that was all done for myself, really. And then after a while, I started to get online and discover like oh shit, there are forums that where people post their stuff and those drawings. So like this one, for example, that was done after discovering that, I guess, where it was kind of not well received to post stuff that you copied for obvious reasons. So I started to think a lot about my designs and try to come up with stuff that I had a lot more input in, stuff that I created versus something that I just copied. So, but even back then I was really critical of my work. So for this one, for example, I don't know, it was done 15 years old. And I knew it was shit. Like I knew I was kind of happy with it, but I knew at the same time, oh my god, there's so much work I need to put in to be able to draw what's in my head. Because I knew already that the idea that I had, the idea that I had in mind was nowhere near what I was able to put on paper, and that was very, very frustrating. But it was also a huge drive to keep me like practicing, and the amount of hours I would put on these was pretty crazy. And that was. Those are all end of high school, so that was in third or fourth. That was third year of high school, in my art classes, and those were all homeworks. That was pretty much it. So that was as you can see, there's a lot more stuff in my early days. Later on, I did a lot of oil painting. I did a lot of watercolor, but I couldn't find those. I'm so super bummed about that. But hopefully, you guys had a good overview of what sort of my progression over the years when I first started this stuff. But yeah, it would only be in the next few years that my skills, I guess, would skyrocket, in my opinion, because up until then I had been only doing stuff for myself. Really, there was really no competition. I mean, I was the only one I was competing against. But after I got on forums and saw other people's work and how good they were, and it really switched my competition mode on, and from that point on I was actively looking for like ways to improve. I was studying other people's art and that kind of stuff to to get to their level one day. And yeah, that's when it all started, really. And you can check out that progress for that period of time in the first part of my retrospective, so make sure you check that out. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.